In the past days, the question came up about ways to deal with Xenon Station without having to micromanage the attacking destroyers to prevent losses. I guess everyone is aware of the problem that AI controlled ships like to run into station defenses, even if they can outrange them. To understand this problem more and more, I spent many frustrating hours letting different types of destroyers attack differently built Xenon stations. To be honest, in the end, I felt like I had no clue anymore. Things I tried at the start suddenly worked, and then not anymore. It's possible I missed some points, or it's just the random behavior of the AI, but I still like to share my observations and approaches I derived from them. My first observation was that destroyers have the tendency during their attack to fly into the same plane in which the target station lies. This means that if our destroyers attack from above or below, they adjust their height relative to the station during the fight, sometimes fast, sometimes slowly, and sometimes we are lucky, and they just find a spot in which they don't move anymore. Anyway, this often leads to that they're simply running into the station defenses during the attack. Here I suggest bringing the destroyers close to the target station, and in the same plane where the station lies before the attack, to reduce the possibility of the described accident. The second important observation is that destroyers like to fly right and left by only trying to keep range to the station module they're focusing on right now and ignore other modules, which makes them very likely to run into defenses at some point. In order to avoid this problem, we need to take a look at the design of the target station first and go for these protruding parts first to remove them early on so our ships can't drift into them anymore. If there's more than one protruding part, just attack the station from different sides at the same time, so they are all destroyed around the same time. Accordingly, your ships will have an easier time maneuvering around the station after these parts are gone. The third big issue I experienced was the rattlesnake. Even it is able to outrange every Xenon station, theoretically, the range advantage of 1.5 kilometers of their main weapons towards the Xenon L graviton turrets is just too short for the AI, even so there are no station modules at the site where it can drift into. At some point, rattlesnakes just come too close and likely they get eaten by the station. This problem becomes less and less relevant with ships that have a higher attack range. The Osaka already shows a less risky behavior, with a range advantage of 3.7 kilometers, but it still managed to run into station sometimes, while I have had no troubles with the Decize E so far, which has an attack range advantage of 4.8 kilometers. But the problem with the Decize E is that it likes to stay too far away, so its plasma turrets can't shoot at a station. Accordingly, I think every other ship with a 10-kilometer range or higher should have an easy time staying at a distance. At last, I want to bring an approach I came up with which promised an easy time, because Xenon stations are all built planar. This means that if the span of a station isn't too large, there's a point above or below the station from which our destroyers can attack all station modules by shilling outside of the station defense in one point. The largest span of a Xenon station I found by measuring some out with the Protect Position command was 12 kilometers, which is small enough to have a safe spot above or below the station from which plasma turrets can target the whole Xenon station. The disadvantage of this approach is that destroyers have trouble using their main guns from this position in high attention, and in low attention, we have to fixate them into position, so they don't fly into the station, which also means that they don't use their main guns and have a low damage output. In the end, somehow, I managed to keep some ships in a safe spot below a Xenon station, but I was not able to reconstruct this every time. If someone can figure out a reliable way to make this happen, please share it. I think still this is an interesting approach, which is sadly not very attractive with the current movement behavior of destroyers. From the problems I observed, I would use the following attack procedure in the future. Identify station parts that could come in the way of my destroyers while they fly around the station. Then bring my destroyers close to the station, inside the same plane as the station lies, and make sure that the station parts that are the furthest away from the station center are in between the station center and my ships. So they attack these parts first and remove them directly, so no other ship can fly into them later. So far, I have good experience with this approach, but using it as ease. I hope this approach will help you too to reduce your destroyer's mortality during station encounters. If you experience problems I didn't bring up, feel free to share them. Maybe someone can provide a solution for them. But so far, this is it from my side. Until next time.